Can you give me a good note? Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Astottara Sutta Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Astottara Sutta Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Srila Namacharya Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Prem Sukho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasti Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Giridhari Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru, Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 3, Verse 29. What's the name of the chapter? Sorry?
Yamaraja instructs his messengers.
Right, Yamaraja instructs his messengers. Please repeat after me. Jivana Vakti Bhagavad Gunanamadeyam
Jivana Bhakti Bhagavad Gunanamadeyam
Jivana Vakti Bhagavad Gunanamadeyam
Jivana Bhakti Bhagavad Gunanamadeyam
Chetaschana Smarati Tachcharanaravindaam
Chetaschana Smarati Tachcharanaravindaam
Chetaschana Smarati Tachcharanaravindaam
Chetaschana Smarati Tachcharanaravindaam
Krishnaya no namati yatschira ekadapi
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 Tan anayadvam asato krita Vishnu krityan Tan anayadvam asato krita Vishnu krityan Jivana Vakti Bhagavad Gunanamadeyam
Jivana Bhakti Bhagavad Gunanamadeyam
Chetaschana Smarati Tachcharanaravindaam
Chetaschana Smarati Tachcharanaravindaam
Krishnaya no namati yatschira ekadapi
Krishnaya no namati yatschira ekadapi
Tan anayadvam asato krita Vishnu krityan Jivana Bhakti Bhagavad Guna Namadeyam
Jivana Bhakti Bhagavad Guna Namadeyam
Chetaschana Smarati Taccharanarvindam
Chetaschana Smarati Taccharanarvindam
Krishnaya no namati yatschira ekadapi
Krishnaya no namati yatschira ekadapi
Tan anayadvamasato krita Vishnu krityan. Please chant.
Jivana Bhakti Bhagavad Guna Namadeyam
Jivana Bhakti Bhagavad Guna Namadeyam
Chetaschana Smarati Taccharanarvindam
Chetaschana Smarati Taccharanarvindam
Krishnaya no namati yatschira ekadapi
Krishnaya no namati yatschira ekadapi Tan anayadvamasato krita Vishnu krityan.
Jivana Bhakti Bhagavad Guna Namadeyam
Chetaschana Smarati Taccharanarvindam Krishnaya no namati yatschira ekadapi Tan anayadvamasato krita Vishnu krityan. Jivana Bhakti Bhagavad Guna Namadeyam Chetaschana Smarati Taccharanarvindam Krishnaya no namati yatschira ekadapi Tan anayadvamasato krita Vishnu krityan. Jiva, the tongue, na, not, Bhakti, chants, Bhagavat, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Guna, transcendental qualities, Nama, and the holy name, Deyam, imparting, Chetaha, the heart, Cha, also, Na, not, Smarati, remembers, Tat, his, Charna Aravindam, lotus feet, Krishnaya, unto Lord Krishna, through his deity, in the temple, no, not, Namati, bows, Yat, whose, Shiraha, head, Ekada api, even once, Tan, them, Anayadvam, bring before me, Asataha, the non-devotees, Akrita, not performing, Vishnu Krityan, duties toward Lord Vishnu. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Bhai Charnarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear servants, please bring to me only those sinful persons who do not use their tongues to chant the holy name and qualities of Krishna, whose hearts do not remember the lotus feet of Krishna even once, and whose heads do not bow down even once before Lord Krishna. Send me those who do not perform their duties toward Vishnu, which are the only duties in human life. Please bring me all such fools and rascals. Purport. The word Vishnu Krityan is very important in this verse because the purpose of human life is to please Lord Vishnu. Varnashram Dharma is also meant for that purpose, as stated in the Vishnu Purana. As stated in the Vishnu Purana 3.8.9. Varnashrama charat vataha purushena para puman Vishnur aradyate panta nanyatatoshakaranam. Human society is meant to follow strictly the Varnashram Dharma, which divides society into 4 social divisions: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, and 4 spiritual divisions: Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. Varnashram Dharma easily brings one nearer to Lord Vishnu, who is the only true objective in human society. Nate vidu svarta gatim hi Vishnum. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.31. Unfortunately, however, people do not know that their self-interest is to return home back to Godhead or to approach Lord Vishnu. Durashaya ye bahir artha maninaha. Instead, they are simply bewildered. Every human being is expected to perform duties meant for approaching Lord Vishnu. Therefore, Yamaraja advises the Yamadutas to bring him those persons who have forgotten their duties toward Vishnu, Akrita Vishnu Krityan. One who does not chant the holy name of Vishnu Krishna, who does not bow down to the deity of Vishnu, and who does not remember the lotus feet of Vishnu is punishable by Yamaraja. In summary, all Avaishnavas, persons unconcerned with Lord Vishnu, are punishable by Yamaraja. Jivana Bhakti Bhagavan Gunanama Deyam Chaitaschana Smarati Tachcharanavindam Krishnaya no namati jatschira ekadapi Tan ana yadvam asato krita Vishnu Krityan. Om Jnana Timrandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Caitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Svapadantikam. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachade Shatarane Vancha Kalpatubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gurmukam karoti vachalam Pangam langayate girim Yat kripa tamaham vande Shri Gurun dinataranam Paramananda madhavam Shri Caitanya Ishvaram. Hare Krishna. So very happy to be here this morning in beautiful ISKCON San Diego at the lotus feet of Sri Sri Radhagiri Dari. And so many wonderful Vaishnavas have come this morning. Thank you all for coming. We're very grateful to you for giving your valuable association. Thank you so much. Before I begin to speak, I seek all of your blessings that I can speak for my own purification and say something of value in the footsteps of the Parampara. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. So we're reading from the 6th canto, 3rd chapter. Yamaraja instructs his messengers. Text number 29. And in this section of Srimad Bhagavatam, we're hearing how Ajamil is excused for his sinful activities because he chanted the holy name. But the Yamadutas are confused. They've approached their master Yamaraja for an explanation of how is it that Ajamil has been freed. And in today's verse, Yamaraja continues to discuss who should be brought before him and who should not be brought before him. And especially the focus today is who is Yamaraja's property, who is the jurisdiction of Yamaraja, who is going to come under the control of Yamaraja and be brought before him. Yesterday we began discussing this topic, and we heard that who is brought before Yamaraja? Well, for example, someone who is averse to God, if they're against the Lord, if they're inimical to the Supreme Lord. And also those that do not associate with the devotees of the Lord. They're also to be brought before Yamaraja. And those who are too much attached. Attached to what? Materialistic family life without connection to Krishna consciousness and worldly enjoyment. And basically sex life, too much attached. So today we're here, the qualities of those who are to be brought for Yamaraja. There are more qualities revealed. They don't chant the qualities and the glories of the Lord. They don't remember the lotus feet of the Lord. Their heads don't bow down to the lotus feet of the Lord. And they don't perform their duties towards Krishna. They're like useless persons. We're all sons of Krishna. We're all sons of God. Krishna says, Aham bija pradapita. I am the seed-giving father of all living entities. So he's our father. We should be good sons. And good sons should do the duty of the father. But here today we hear that they don't do any duties for the Father. It's like you get the electricity, comes to your house, the water comes to your house, they clean the streets in front of your house, but you refuse to pay your bills, you refuse to pay your taxes. It doesn't make sense. So these atheistic persons, everything is coming to them, air to breathe, water to drink, food to eat, everything is coming, but they refuse to do any duties for the Supreme Father. So the Krishna consciousness movement is meant to help save these kind of people from sin and help them cultivate love for Krishna and advance in devotional service. Bharte bhumate hoy, manusya janma jar, janma satakakari, para upakar. This is mentioned in the Caitanya Charitamrita. One who has taken his birth as a human being, especially in the country of Bharatvarsh, of India, should make his life successful by becoming Krishna conscious, and then help others also make their lives successful to distribute Krishna consciousness, which is called para upakar. Upakar means the welfare work, and para means the topmost. So the topmost welfare work that we can offer this world is to offer Krishna consciousness, try to share Krishna consciousness. And that is what we're trying to dedicate our time and energy for, this para upakar. So, to review further, Parikshit Maharaj is inquiring from Sukadev Goswami, what is Yamaraja's reply to these Yamadutas? And Yamaraj is explaining he's not the supreme, and he's preaching to them the importance of devotional service, especially chanting the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And the glories of the holy name are enumerated, and there's a discussion of those who are not interested in chanting. Why are they not interested to chant? They're bewildered by the illusory energy. Their minds are attracted to the ritualistic ceremonies. Their minds are attracted to karma kanda, heavenly enjoyments, temporary benefits. They're attracted to dharma, artha, kama, moksha. But then Yamaraj tells the Yamadutas, don't approach the devotees. They're chanting the holy names. Even if they commit sins, don't approach them. Even if they make a mistake, if they were bewildered, if they're under illusion, don't approach them. Because they're always protected by sins. How are they always protected by sins? They're always chanting. They're protected from sins by always chanting the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. They're fully surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They're equal to everyone. Their narrations are sung by the demigods, and they're always protected by the club of Vishnu. And Yamaraj says, Brahma, I, and even the time factor cannot chastise these people. So then we heard about how the devotees are always licking the honey from the lotus feet of the Lord. They're always engaged in service. I was discussing this with Derivative Prabhu yesterday, and he said licking the honey means engaging in service to the Lord. Of course, there are 9 processes of devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivednam. Hearing, chanting, remembering, offering prayers, worshipping, becoming the friend of the Lord, becoming the servant of the Lord, surrendering everything to the Lord. So if you go into the supermarket, you'll see many different flavors of honey, right? I saw recently the neem flavored honey. It's very nice. And there's a lotus flavored honey, and there's the all different Tulsi flavor honey. Every different flavors are there. So when we're licking the lotus feet, the honey from the lotus feet of the Lord, we're talking about 9 basic flavors. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivednam. These are the honey flavors that we can lick. And devotees are equal to everyone. They preach Krishna consciousness. They're paradukkha dukhi. They see the misery of others as their own misery. They're very compassionate. So, this is the verse we heard yesterday. Yamaraj said, bring those personalities who have turned away from Mukunda. They're Bahirmukh. They turn their face away. But don't bring the devotees who are tasting that honey of devotional service. And devotees are also free from material attachment. but they should bring those persons bound up, banda trishnan, those that are bound to their material desires. Bring those people. Now, most of us were these people before coming to Krishna consciousness. We were all headed for hell. We're on the royal road of hell, the Vartma, the road to hell. So in today's verse, we're hearing Jiva Navakti Bhagavad Guna Namadeyam. So Jiva means tongue. Sarirada Vijajal Jandriya Taikal. The Jiva. We also hear Vachavegam Manasa Kroda Vegam Jiva Vegam, the pushings of the tongue. The pushings, Vachavegam, pushings of the speech. Manasa, pushings of the mind. Jiva Vegam, pushings of the tongue. Vachavegam, Manasa, Kroda Vegam, Jiva Vegam, pushings of anger. Jiva Vegam. Udara Pasta Vegam, the pushings of the tongue. The belly and the genitals. Udara Pasta Vegam, the pushings of the pasta. People say, what do you want for lunch? I said, no pasta. I'm trying to overcome the pushings of the pasta. Upasta Vegam. Sarvamapimam prativimsa shishat. A person who can overcome all of these pushings is qualified to make disciples all over the world. So Yamaraja says today, Jiva na Bhakti Bhagavad Guna Namadeyam. Those whose jiva, those whose tongues, not Bhakti. Bhakti means words or the sound vibrations. Those tongues that are not making the Bhakti, the sound vibrations of the Bhagavad Guna. Guna means qualities. So the qualities of Bhagavat. Bhagavat means Bhagavan. Bhagavan means Krishna. So the Bhagavat Guna, Krishna Guna, the qualities of Krishna. Those whose tongues are not vibrating the glories of the qualities of Krishna. And not only the qualities, Bhagavat Guna, but also Bhagavat Namadeyam. Nam means name, the holy name of the Lord. If those tongues, if that jiva is not vibrating, Navakti Bhagavad Guna Namadeyam, bring those people that are not vibrating their tongues to glorify the qualities. Bring those people whose tongues are not vibrating to glorify the holy names. Then Yamaraj says, Chetas Chana Smarati Tats Charanara Vindam, which Cheta, like we say, Cheto, Darpana, Marjanam. Chetas refers to the heart. So if in his heart, there is not Smarati. Smarati means remembrance. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavan smaran. If there's not remembrance in his chetaha, in his heart, remembrance of what? Tats charanara vindam Krishnaya. The lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So if there's no remembrance of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna in his heart, bring him to me, Yamaraj says. Then, Krishnaya no namati yatschira ekadapi. So if he does not, Krishnaya, his head, namati. Namati means to bow down and put our heads on the floor. Bow down, mister. Right? Remember that? Bow down, mister. Put your head on the floor. Namati. If you don't do the namati, then you're going to Yamaraj Ji. No namati means going to Yamaraj Ji. Ji is an affectionate, you could say, suffix that we add. Yeah. No namati means going to Yamaraj Ji. Krishnaya no namati yatschira ekadapi. If he does not bow his head down, eka means once, ekadapi. If he doesn't bow down even just once. Therefore, we should try to help the conditioned souls to accomplish these activities even once. If even once they can accomplish remembering or vibrating the glories of Krishna's gunas, qualities, if they can just once vibrate the holy name, if they can just once remember Krishna in their heart, if they can just once bow down and put their head on the floor in front of Lord Krishna, then their lives become successful. We have a very interesting initiative in the World Holy Name Festival and Kirtan Ministry. It's called Fortunate People, or Bhagavan Jeev. And in this, we are encouraging people to make videos of other people chanting Hare Krishna and upload them on their website. Just like we approach people in the street to distribute a book to them, please take this book. So we also have groups of devotees that go and approach people on the street. Please chant Hare Krishna even once. And let us make this video. Yeah, and then he can download the videos. He can just go to the web portal, and they can scan and they can check, has this person chanted even once? Look, they're uploaded, and we have already more than 250,000 videos uploaded on our site. So we're trying to make Yamaraja's seva a little bit easier. You know, they can screen at the gate, you know, to Yamaraja's palace that, okay, they've already chanted once, okay, close the gate, send them to the other place, send them to Goloka Vrindavan, and let them eternally chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then Yamaraj concludes his statement today by saying, Tan anayadvam asato krita Vishnu krityan. He says that Tan, bring anayadvam, bring them to me. Who to bring? Asato. That means the asat. There's sat and asat. Sat means eternal, and asat means not eternal. So those devotees are always speaking about Krishna. Is Krishna eternal or not eternal? Krishna is eternal. He's Sat, Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Okay, we'll talk about that one later, I think. All right. So, Krishna is Satchit Ananda Vigraha, eternal, filled with knowledge and filled with bliss. So, Yamaraj says, and the devotees are the same way. They're always concerned with Sat, with eternal things. We call this Satsanga, the association of people interested in those eternal topics, Satsanga. So Asato, he says, bring me those Asato, those people who are not devotees, that are not doing Krita Vishnu Krityan. They're not performing their duties to Vishnu. So what are those duties to Vishnu that we should be performing? Prabhupada speaks a lot in today's purport about the Varnashram system. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Chatur Varnyam Maya Shrishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasaha Tasya Kartaram Apimam Vidya Kartaram Avyayam. He says, according to the three modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the four divisions of human society are created by me. Although I am the creator of the system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. So Krishna creates Chaturvarna Maya Shrishtam. He creates 4 varnas and 4 ashrams. The 4 ashrams, brahmacharya, grahastha, vanaprastha, sannyas. The 4 varnas are the brahmana, the kshatriya, the vaishya, and the shudra. And each have their own separate duties to perform. The brahmanas, shamodamas tapat shocham shantir arjavam evacha jnanam vijnanam astikam brahma karma subhavajam. Shamodamas tapat shocham, they're very peaceful, they're self-controlled, they do tapas, they do austerity. Shocham, they're very clean. Shamodamas Shamodamastapashocham. Shantir, they're shantir, they're peaceful. Arjivam, they're very simple, they're religious. Jnana Vijnanam Astikyam, they have knowledge, they have realization. These are the qualities by which the Brahmanas work. And then we have the qualities of the Kshatriyas. Shuryam Tejo Dhritir Jaksham Yudhe Chapya Palayanam Dhanam Isvaram Bhavascha Kshatram Karma Swabhavajam. They're Shuryam, Tejo, they're very powerful. Daksham, they're very expert. Yudhe Chapya Palayanam, they're fighting in the front of the battlefield. And Ishvaram Bhavascha, they have a controlling nature. These are the qualities of the Kshatriyas. And qualities of the Vaishnavas, of the Vaishyas. They're, what is it? They're doing cow protection. Krishigo Rakshavani Jam. They're controlling the banking and the finances, and they're taking care of the cows. Farming is also there. And then the Shudras, they support the other three classes. So everyone should do their duties, respective duties towards the Supreme Lord. Of course, the most important duty is to endeavor to surrender and glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adhoksaje ahoitaki apratiyata yatma suprasidati. That savai pumsam paro dharmo, the paro dharma, the topmost occupation, the topmost dharma is yato bhaktir adhoksaje, is to render service unto adhoksaje, unto Krishna. That service has two different parameters: ahoitaki, apratiyata, unmotivated, uninterrupted, yayatma suprasidati. And then if one does this, the atma, the yayatma, the soul will feel just suprasidati. Prasidati means happy and peaceful. And the prefix Superman, it means very, very much. So suprasidati can actually pradyakshavāgamam dharmyam. You can experience it. You can experience the happiness and satisfaction of Krishna consciousness. So I can conclude with one more shloka, and then we'll have some discussion. So thus, Yamaraja is encouraging us to engage in this chanting of the holy names. Just like Ajmil chanted, we can also chant. Kaler doshanidhe rajan asti yeko mahan gunaha kirtanadyeva krishnasya mukta sangha. That this age of Kali, Kalera dosha, dosha means faults. It's not just something you have for breakfast, South Indian dosha. It's Kalera dosha nidhe rajan. It's an ocean of faults. This Kali Yuga, Manda Sumanda Mateo. People are short-lived. They're confused. They're misguided. They're always disturbed. But by engaging in this chanting, we can overcome the ocean of faults of Kali Yuga. And Kirtanadyeva Krishnasya Mukta Sangam Param Vrajet. We can obtain liberation from the clutches of the activities of Kali Yuga. So I'm going to stop right here. Thank you so much for your kind attention. Are there any questions or comments? Yes, Dravida Prabhu. You have a mic is above you. Yeah.
I was looking at today's verse, and it says there, Ekadapi, right? Ekadapi at the end of the third line. And I was wondering, because in the translation there, the translation Prabhupada mentions that for they're not remembering lotus feet. Bring me the ones who don't remember even once, and whose heads do not bow down even once before Lord Krishna. But he doesn't mention it for the chanting, and that's that. I always think, well, because the whole issue is the Yamadutas say, We're just following orders. We're following Yamaraja's orders, and he's always been right on the money. We've always brought him, and he's punished. And so. But now it's different. What's the difference? Well, the difference is that very unusually, someone who's been sinful practically his entire life chants the holy name once. Prabhupada said once is enough. At the very end, and then that changes the whole calculation. They had not been trained up for that, the very unusual circumstance, and that's their whole beef, if you will, with Yamaraj, with the whole Vishnu Dutas. Well, wait a minute, we have our orders, and this. So I was thinking, and that I wanted to check the commentary of Vishnu Chakravarti, which we have a document with all that, and sure enough, he says that this ekadapi is meant to apply to all three of these things, and especially it's pertinent now for the chanting of the holy name. If they had known that, hold on, guys, he just chanted the holy name, he's free. They would have known. But it's such an unusual circumstance that Yamaraja had not mentioned it. Of course, without that, we wouldn't have all the instruction and everything, all pastime, so it's arranged by Krishna. But he mentions that all the, and Prabhupada does apply it to the other two, the one that explicitly is mentioned, but also the remembrance. But you can see how, as you were pointing out, it's wonderful. You get someone to chant once. They've chanted once. They're not going to hell. They may have to take another birth and continue the thing, but they're not going to hell. So here's a record of it. That's a very nice program you got going there. Interesting.
Thank you. Yeah, I was remembering when Lord Chaitanya met the residents of Kalinagram, they asked, who is a devotee? And Mahaprabhu said, anyone who chants the holy name even once. So that corresponds to this. Yeah, even once. Thank you. Anything else? Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Wait. Can we take your question after we have a resident question, Prabhu?
Of course, Maharaj.
Thank you for your kind patience.
You're welcome.
Yeah, go ahead. Mukunda Prabhu.
Well, I actually had three, but one is from yesterday's, and two of them are kind of really just one. So I guess I'll first say or ask, with Jivitapu's question, he was saying that it doesn't mention the chanting, and if the chanting was more clear to the Yamadutas, then they would know, okay, then back off. But even aside from chanting, and even if Ajamala never chanted Narayana, at least from these two, today's verse and yesterday's verse, it would make me think that already he would have been in the clear, and that these cases would be a lot more common because he was trained up as a child, and so you'd think he was surely bowed to Lord Narayana, or to Lord Vishnu at least one time, or that he remembered some pastime of Lord Vishnu at least one time. So I know this kind of sounds like one of those, stump the Swami questions, but it's one that I guess I don't really know.
Okay, let me see if I get your question properly. Yeah. You're saying that one of the criteria for being free from the clutches of the Yamadutas and Yamaraj is to bow your head down even once to the Lord.
Yes, in a lifetime.
In a lifetime. And you're saying most likely Ajamil has done that. And perhaps some other activities, like maybe he even chanted Narayana when he was small, like that. So why is it that special emphasis is being given to the name of Krishna? That because of the name, he was liberated from the clutches of the Yamadutas, and not necessarily like, Yamaraja is saying to the Yamadutas, don't bring him because he bowed his head down when he was 3 years old. Is that your question? Yeah, that's a good question. Perhaps it's a stump the Swami question after all. Wait, your mic's not on.
Yeah, so it's not on right now. Should I put it on?
Yes.
Okay. So after describing clearly that this is the translation of the commentary to Vishnu. The word once should be understood for all the statements. Bring those who have not done any service to Vishnu, either purely or at least as the predominant process. These are non-Vaishnavas. And and so he goes through each one and mentions once. But then the last sentence he says, quote, once can be interpreted as once in a lifetime, once in a year, or once in a day, according to different opinions. So there are acharyas who Vishwanath Chakravarti must recognize, we wouldn't put this in there, who said, okay, once in a year, once in a day. So when you get down to the day, Jamil, this is his last chance that day, certainly, to do one of them, and he did the most important chant of the name Narayan. So you're right. That is a consideration. But,
So it seems, according to our acharyas, they have differing opinions on this topic, and don't wait till it's too late. I mean, we should be chanting. The takeaway we get from it is we cannot rest on our laurels. We can't say, well, I did this long time ago, so I don't need to do it now. So we should always be keeping our devotional service fresh. So I think this given some perspective on this question.
Yeah. Also, one small one. Yesterday, I forgot where you cited it from, but you mentioned that, and I might have this wrong, so please correct me. I thought it was that sinful activities come from three things: mistakes, bewilderment, and delusion. Was that the three?
Yes, that's mentioned by Srila Prabhupada in one of these purports.
And so when I was writing it down, it wasn't clear to me the distinction between sinning out of illusion versus sinning out of bewilderment. Could you clarify that or explain that?
Yes, that's also a little bit challenging, but let's see. So just to clarify your question, Vaishnavas, despite their endeavors to be sinless, may occasionally make mistakes, and they may commit sinful activities. The three reasons why they may commit sinful activities is making mistakes, they're in illusion, or they're bewildered. So this is kind of similar to the four defects that all human beings have. They make mistakes, they have imperfect senses, they have a cheating propensity, and they're subject to illusion. So subject to illusion, it means aham mameti. I think I'm this body. They forget that I'm a spirit soul. Jivera surpahoy Krishnera nityadas. We're all eternally servants of Krishna. And we always want to remember that. But sometimes we may be covered over by Maya. Maya is very powerful, Mama Maya Duratya. And we may come under the sway of illusion. And we may forget our position that actually I'm Krishna's servant. I have no interest in my personal sense gratification. My only interest is Krishna's service. So one may be illusioned and forget that. So if we think I'm this body, we forget our identity as the eternal servant of Krishna. That's coming under illusion. Okay? So then, making mistakes, that's also, I'm walking on the street and there's an ant. I step on the ant. I made a mistake. I didn't mean to kill the ant, but I killed the ant. That's a mistake. It's rain. The worms are crawling around on the street. I don't know. They do that here in Southern California. The worms do that. Yeah, they come out in the rain. My father used to always rescue the worms. Yeah, and worm rescue squad. Yeah, and so we may make a mistake and perform some sin accidentally without any intention at all, just by mistake. And then there's bewildered, right? We talked about bewildered. So it's basically the difference between bewildered and illusion. So bewildered. I don't know. We have a dictionary definition for bewildered. Yes, what is it? Use the mic. Okay. Yeah. Bewildered. Bewildered means... Yeah.
Illusion.
Yeah.
Now, I did some research.
Mic.
Oh, yeah, you're right. illusion as a verb. It's not a verb. You know, you can't be illusioned by the material energy, but it's all over the books. So it's a special Prabhupadism, but it's deluded is the word, deluded, and Prabhupada uses that word all the time. But amazingly enough, illusioned standing alone is an adjective. It's an exception. You can be illusioned, but you can't be illusioned by something, because then it makes it into a verb. So that's the thing. So we're looking up bewildered, huh? What does the word bewilder actually mean? How does it differ from?
Be in the wild. Bewildered, be in the wild.
Let's not go there right now. To confuse or puzzle completely. Another one is bewildered if he's confused or puzzled, completely puzzled, perplexed. The shifting attitudes bewilder me. Whereas illusion is, as I mentioned, a noun. So maybe we can just use delude, because that corresponds to bewilder. And it's what illusion means. To mislead the mind or judgment of, to deceive. So it sounds like you can be bewildered by something that's not trying to bewilder you.
Right, it's your own mental condition.
Yeah. But delude is an intentional thing. To mislead, it's something leads you to deceive. His conceit deluded him into believing he was important. So there's more of an intentionality there, more of a...
And more of an external influence on you, whereas to be bewildered is more of an internal influence. It's like adhyatmic klesh, you're like mentally ill. And then someone puts you under, you're put under illusion, correct? You're put under illusion, but you bewilder yourself. Okay?
This term, weakness of heart,
Hridaya Durlabham. Yeah.
Would that fall into one of those categories, bewilderment?
Yeah.
Or
it sounds like you're bewildering yourself, right? Your own heart is weak. Yeah.
Anyway, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, Prabhu, go ahead.
Hare Krishna. I just had a quick question. In the class I mentioned, if one chants the holy name once, they're saved, and they don't go to the place of Yamaraja. But I was wondering what happens to the individual who stops chanting because of an offense, or they're one of the 9 offenses, chanting on sinful activities.
Yeah, he gets another chance. He gets another birth, gets a human birth. Neha vikramo nasosti pratyuvaya na vidyate swalpalpam apasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. That a person, he makes, in this endeavor, there's no loss or diminution, and even a little advancement on this path can save one from the most dangerous type of fear. Most dangerous type of fear is taking birth in the animal species, because then we don't have an opportunity for seva. So there's always, we become 50% Krishna conscious in this life. We don't manage to finish the job. We can take birth again, and as a human being, and start our Krishna consciousness again at 51%, like that. So, does that answer your question? Okay, very good. I want to take the question from the internet. What's Prabhu's name? Vijay. Vijay Krishna Prabhu.
Yes,
Please go
Maharaj,
ahead.
thank you very much. You're very kind. Dandavat Pranams. Maharaj, in the translation to the text you chose for today, I see that Yamaraja is mentioning about duties to be performed towards Vishnu,
Yes.
which are the only duties in human life.
Yes.
So based on this, my question is, what is the difference between animal life and human life in this context? Is it that animals have no duties to perform? And is it that if humans do not perform duties toward Vishnu, they will become categorized as no better than animals? That is my question.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Let me see if I understand your question correctly. You're saying that the question is, do animals have duties, number one? And number two, if a person does not perform his duties towards Lord Vishnu, is he considered an animal? Is that correct?
Exactly, Maharaj. The two questions, exactly.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So animals, they're engaged in 4 activities: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So they are not directly in relationship with Vishnu. Although there are some animal exceptions, they take some prasadam sometimes, and there's sometimes some very, very fortunate animals, they get attached to the association of devotees, like Shivananda Sain's dog. He was associating with devotees. He got Mahaprasadam from Lord Chaitanya's lotus hand. So there are exceptions, but generally animals are just concerned with these 4 things: eating, sleeping, mating, defending, and they don't have any specific duties in relation to Vishnu. So then the question comes, what if a person is just eating, sleeping, mating, defending? He's not performing any activities in relation to Vishnu. What is his situation? His situation is a dvipada pashu. He's a 2-legged animal. Does that answer your question?
Oh Maharaj, again, as to be expected, very helpful, wonderful again, answer to my question. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sorry, we're 10 minutes over.
No.